Yo, Thought Warriors. What is up? Higher Learning is on. It is I, Van Lathan Jr.
And it's me, Rachel Lindsay.
COVID. Before anyone starts asking, okay? Before COVID. Yes, COVID.
Well, what people are going to ask next is, how are you feeling? There are levels to COVID. I feel like last time you had it pretty bad. You and I both had like really strong symptoms. How are you feeling now? I mean, your voice is gone. We know that. But how physically are you?
Like a really, really bad flu, like super bad flu. I'm breathing okay right now and all of that stuff. Feeling better this morning than I was yesterday. If it was yesterday, I wouldn't be able to do a podcast.
Well, I'm glad you're feeling better. Maybe you're on the other side of it now.
Could be.
Guys, Van is a trooper. Man, I would probably be in the bed, but he is a trooper. He is here, ready to podcast, ready to go, drinking a little OJ. You don't even look sick. You don't look sick at all.
Interesting. Yeah, you know who is sick is the Dallas Cowboys.
Wait, come on now, Van.
Yeah.
I don't want to be, I'm feeling a little tightness in my chest.
Yeah,
I'm feeling a little, I don't want to be here. Come on now. We did this yesterday, I could see it. It's Tuesday.
What?
We don't need to do this. We
No.
had 24 hours of Cowboy slander. I don't need to do this.
What did I tell you the Cowboys were going to do to you? What did I tell you? What did I tell you the Cowboys were going to do to you?
You love being a troll. Disappoint?
Yeah, not spectacularly. It was amazing. How do you feel? How are you feeling, Rachel, about the Cowboys? Be honest. It's okay. We all know.
I am going to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
Your trolling was so bad that someone screenshot it and put it in my fantasy football chat. It was like, Van won't leave Rachel alone. And I didn't even respond because I was like, I'm getting it from all angles. You hit me up on Twitter, your stories, and an actual post to your page. People were bothering me that would not have because of your trolling. You are a top-notch troller. So here's the thing. I'm going to be very honest. I'm tired. Guys, I might cry when I say this. I have never said this out loud before. I am so tired as a Cowboys fan. It's not even funny anymore. It's not our year. Next year is not our year. The year after that is not our year either. I saw a stat, and I think, forgive me if the number's wrong, but it was like whatever year to 95, our record was like 31-18 for the playoffs. Since 1996, it has been 5-18 or 5-13, something like that. I just don't understand what's going on. I mean, obviously it starts from the top. The right decisions aren't made. I'm sick of hearing what a master Dan Quinn is, who he's great coach, but then our defense we play zone, we leave people wide open. Like, it just fell apart. It looked like high school football. I don't know who to point the finger at, but I can tell you this. I'm going to be silent next season. They might drive me to not watch football next year.
Yeah.
I'm so depressed because here's the thing, and I've said this before. I'd rather us just suck and there be absolutely no expectation than to have these 12-win seasons and we go to the next level and completely lay an egg. I would much rather. I don't like getting my hopes up for anything. I am more of a pessimist. I like to prepare for the worst. That is me. But for some reason with the Cowboys, I go against what I do and I say, this year, we got it. This year, we've got the team. We've got the coaching. We've got the heart, the confidence. We ain't got shit.
I can't say it any better. I'll tell you one thing. That young light-skinned man was dealing out there. That young light-skinned boy came
Jordan?
into Texas. That boy was out there dealing. That might have been the game of his life. He's throwing people up. It was okay. So we can move off of it because we got to give Donnie his time to shine. If we're talking about football and stuff, just to let you guys know, my people are nowhere in it. The Saints are at home. LSU, nowhere. So this is like completely little brother shit. But there was one where the game was kind of still in flux. And I actually they schemed up the tight end sneaking out of the middle up the right sideline. And this motherfucker was wide open. That was hilarious. I'm sorry, man. This motherfucker
he caught it like this.
Wide open.
He didn't even have to catch it pretty.
I was like, yeah, that's when I lost it. Like, they totally...
We quit.
That's when I lost it. I was like, this nigga is wide open. And the Cowboys fans in there it was just tough. Donnie, pop on.
Yeah, I'm feeling the opposite of Rachel. I'm sorry. I feel real good.
That's twice, Donnie. That's twice now.
It's been a good football month for me. I feel like that what happened to the Cowboys was karmic justice for what happened to the Lions against us. We deserved that number 2 seed.
That game didn't even matter.
It would have. If we had won, which we did, we would be in the position which we are currently in, having 2 consecutive home games. It just felt like the universe righting itself. So I'm feeling good. Everything is right in the world.
Donnie,
normally we're aligned. We're aligned, Donnie, but not today.
Oh, Donnie, jump back on real quick. I just got to ask you one thing.
Yeah.
So, Jomi at dinner on, do you know who that is?
Yeah, I know Jomi.
Okay. So, Jomi caught a little flack for a tweet that he had. And did you see this?
I did.
What was the tweet?
Said Matt Stafford was the Lions' GOAT. Something about the Lions, or you say it. You know it better than I do.
The Lions, Detroit booed Matt Stafford.
Of course.
And then according to Kelly Stafford, they booed his kids as well. They don't give a fuck in Detroit. Okay. That's what she says. Donnie?
I mean, if the kids are with her,
exactly.
They're booing her, not the kids. And by booing her, they're booing her husband. Like, it's not her, it's the jersey she's wearing.
It wasn't the kids.
No, it wasn't the kids. It's because the kids were there. Yeah.
And I guess Jomi is a Rams fan and took this personally. And he said, "How dare you boo your GOAT?" And he was talking about Matt Stafford.
No. Did Jomi forget about Barry? Did he forget about Barry?
Jomi's younger, though.
I mean, you don't even have to know football that well to say Barry.
And he was around when Calvin Johnson, I would argue.
Megatron. Exactly. Yep. Stafford?
Yeah.
What does Jomi have to say for himself?
Yeah.
They got on Jomi ass. Kevin Clark. Kevin. Shout out to Kevin. My man. Kevin don't even work at the Ringer no more. Kevin was like, huh? Like Barry Sanders. Like, no.
Jomi brought that on himself. It sounds
what do you think about Jomi's assessment of who the GOAT of Detroit is?
I was going to say that it was showing Jomi's age, but I forgot Megatron only retired like less than a decade ago. So I don't know. It's just Jomi not paying attention to Detroit sports, which I think is just what the world normally does. Like they pay attention to Detroit sports in moments like this when we make history. But we're kind of like the news yesterday for the most part in the world of sports was the Cowboys losing and not the Lions winning for the first time since 1991. So
bye-bye, Donnie.
Tell Jomi to stick to the MCU. Tell Jomi
bye-bye, Donnie. The Lions winning for the first time since 1990. Look, it happens. Like all Cowboys fans out there, we're not going to spend too long on it. It happens. Just maybe it's time to eat a little bit of the pie that tastes like humble. I don't know. But Rachel,
what we gotta be humble about?
There you go.
Seriously, I'm I just get annoyed with Dak. The way he took up for McCarthy. And I'm not saying he should have gone in there and been like, he's obviously not going to say fire his coach, but for him to be like, well, you got to throw me out too. I'm like, throw him out. Throw them both out.
The Eagles shit the bed too.
Yeah. Where was their defense? They were missing tackles like crazy. At least they were missing tackles. We weren't even tackling. They were just wide open.
Well, a lot of losers out there.
And not exciting teams moving forward. Sorry. Detroit, I'm actually excited about. That's
Okay.
fun. They're fun to watch.
Yeah, fun team. A lot of losers in Iowa, too. Iowa caucuses. Trump fucked them all on the other side of this break. All right, Trump sweeps the Iowa caucuses. He won. They called it about 30 minutes in. I think
It's just wild.
Yeah, I mean, there wasn't very much suspense to the entire thing. He won at least 20 of the 40 delegates. DeSantis took 8. Nikki Haley received 7. The big story coming out of this is a tragic one. Vivek Ramaswamy has suspended his presidential campaign. What? Vivek, why?
How do you feel about it? You're such an advocate.
My guy, man. My guy. Like, I wonder what is he going to do now? What can he do now? He's going to be on Tucker Carlson's Twitter X platform, Fox Nation show. Is he going to be one of the biggest conservative? Where will the grift go now? I thought he was going to grift all the way to the White House, but I don't know now. Rachel, your thoughts about Trump strengthening his hold over the GOP presidential race?
Well, I was watching something, and obviously, if you could have guessed, we would have said Trump was going to win. The fact that he set a record in the margin of, I think he got 51% or something like that. The fact that this was the lowest voter turnout ever, I think says something about both sides just not being excited.
The weather was terrible.
Oh, was it the weather terrible too?
The weather
okay.
It was like a winter storm. The weather was
So do you think that
terrible.
was it? Or do you think that people are just like disenchanted on both sides?
They're probably disenchanted, but it was unprecedented winter weather as well in Iowa.
Okay.
So we should say that.
Okay. But when you look at the history of Iowa, even though we suspected that Trump would win, Iowa historically has not necessarily been telling of who ultimately becomes the nomination or receives a nomination on the Republican side. There was a thing where they were going back and forth. Like the year Trump won, Ted Cruz won Iowa. So it shows Trump's hold over Iowa, but is it reflective of Trump winning the nomination? He's going to win. But is it reflective of Trump winning overall? I don't know. Not necessarily. This was not a surprise to me. I know you were surprised Vivek was out. That wasn't a surprise to me either. It really wasn't telling with Nikki Haley or DeSantis either. So, I mean, this just Trump is Trump. It just shows like there's no shocker to me in this. But I guess I take it back. The shocking thing to me was the telling part that whoever wins Iowa does not necessarily get the nomination on the Republican side.
The more, I guess, compelling narrative here was second place. Nikki Haley has been surging in momentum. National polls show her ticking ahead of Ron DeSantis. However, she lost last night. She lost. He polled ahead of her slightly. 21%. She was slightly behind. It was like 20 or 19 or something like that. It's very close. And that is still significant if there is any volition to the idea that Donald Trump might not be able to run because of all of his legal problems. The question is, who is the politician in the glass case for the Republicans? Is it Nikki Haley? Is it Ron DeSantis? I think, he is able to move ahead of her whenever there's a binary choice because she's so stupid. And I'm sorry to say this. She's such an idiot. Like, she's dumb. I'm just being honest with you. And they just asked her, Donnie, do you have the clip?
Yeah, I'm pulling it up now.
Yeah. Rachel, you've never even heard this clip.
No, I haven't.
I want you to tell me what you think. We're gonna do Rach reacts, playing something and Rach reacts. We're all hoping that Rach attacks. Okay. We're gonna that was just off the top of the dome, niggas. I'm gonna play something right now. Donnie knows what I'm about to play. And you tell me where she fucked up here. Rach reacts. Let's go.
Are you a racist party? Are you involved in a racist party?
No. We're not a racist country, Brian. We've never been a racist country. Our goal is to make sure that today is better than yesterday. Are we perfect? No. But our goal is to always make sure we try and be more perfect every day that we can. I know I faced racism when I was growing up, but I can tell you today is a lot better than it was then. Our goal is to lift up everybody, not go and divide people on race or gender or party or anything else. We've had enough of that in America. That's why I'm so passionate about doing this. I don't want my kids growing up where they're sitting there thinking that they're disadvantaged because of a color or a gender. I want them to know that if they work hard, they can do and be anything they want to be in America.
Rachel?
So America's never been a racist country, ever. Never. But you faced racism. But you grew up facing racism. Now, I guess she's trying to say that was a one-off and not as a whole. But racism is a learned behavior, and you learned it from people in this country. Never, Nikki, never. I think these Republicans get so caught up in speaking in platitudes, except for Trump, that they don't even know what they're saying. It's so disingenuous that they have no idea what they're saying. Now she's going to have to go back and say, that's not what I meant. What I meant is it's not as racist as it was back then. And we have to move forward and do better. We're better now than we are then. That's what she's going to come back and say.
She probably will. She'll probably come back and say that.
I misspoke. Well, you misspeaking a lot.
It's so easy here. No one even asked her if America was a racist country or had been a racist country. They asked her if the Republicans were a racist party.
Right.
Now, I don't expect her to say that the Republicans are a racist party, even though I'll tell you right now, unequivocally, the base of the Republican Party is racist. And in order to be a force in the Republican Party, you have to coddle, protect, and empower voices who are deeply, deeply racist. What you can't do as the head of the Republican Party, it doesn't matter who this is. It doesn't matter who this is. Take your most moderate, what you would think the least dangerous Republican, the guy that you like, still has to walk in rooms in places where they have no interest in equity or equality and be viable to those people. And because of that, there is a racist DNA inside of the Republican Party that until there is a purposeful effort to root it out will exist there. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
But that's what she was asked, and I don't expect her to say, yeah, we're racist. Just say, no, we're not a racist party. But then she said, America's not a racist country and never has been.
That's her talking to that base that you were. She needed to get that out there just so they know.
So was America racist when the rape of a black woman was legal?
No, because it was legal.
No. Oh, is that racist?
I feel like that's what she's saying.
Was America racist when you could take somebody's kids away, when you could whip the shit out of them? After that, let's say after that, was America racist when it was codified that you couldn't vote? That
it's the law.
Who you could marry. It was kind of like, was America racist when you couldn't buy land? All of this stuff was law.
It's law. It's not racism. It's legal.
It was racist. It is racist.
Of course
And she knows it's racist. She knows it's racist because if it wasn't racist, she wouldn't be Nikki Haley.
With your son, it was illegal for your son-in-law to marry your daughter. For them to have biracial children. I don't know if they have children yet, but in the future. Yeah, I didn't hear that from Nikki Haley, but...
Get ready to do an apology rating here.
Who's more dangerous? Let's just say this. Let's just say Trump is not able to run. Who would you rather? Who's better? Who's the better person to run against Biden and has the better chance of losing? It's Haley.
It's Haley. Look, here's the thing.
As I'm putting it up, I'm like, it's Haley.
Before we get off politics real quick, the Biden-Harris administration put out this little thing. It's like hey, this is what we've done so far. Okay? I'm going to read it off to you, Rach. You good with it?
Read it to me.
Major accomplishments 2023 of the Biden-Harris administration. 2023, year 2023. This is not for the entire 4 years, year 2023. Tackle inflation and lower costs. Allowed Medicare to negotiate lower drug prices. That means a lot. Capped insulin at $35 for seniors and helped millions save on health insurance. Tackled the climate crisis. Created 210,000 new clean energy jobs in just over a year. Protected millions of acres of land, of waters, signed an executive order to advance environmental justice. Invested in America and created good jobs. Announced 33,000 infrastructure projects across America. Invested in roads and bridges, improved airports, high-speed internet, clean water, and reliable transit and rail. Sustained an economic recovery that created 2.5 million jobs, including nearly 200,000 construction jobs. Protected access to reproductive care. Took action to protect access to emergency medical care, abortion, and contraception. Strengthened privacy protections for patients and doctors, defended in court women's ability to access medication and abortion. Made America safe from gun violence. Safer from gun violence. Created the first ever White House Office of Gun Violence Prevention in American history. Funded an additional 14,000 school-based mental health professionals. Announced a new executive action to keep guns out of dangerous hands. Made education more affordable. Brought the total student debt cancellation of $132 billion for 3.6 million Americans through various actions. Launched the most affordable payment repayment plan ever, the SAVE plan. Helped 700,000 people access public service loan forgiveness. Invested $7 billion into HBCUs. Strengthened democracy, home and abroad. Stood up for our allies and partners in Israel, Ukraine, and across the globe. And strengthened our alliances around the world. Spoke out against discrimination, racism, anti-LGBTQI hate. Pushed for stronger voting rights. Confirmed high-quality judges. On President Biden's watch, the Senate confirmed 166 life-tenured federal judges, confirmed a record-breaking number of Black, Hispanic, and NHPI judges. Rachel, in light of the conversation that people are having around President Biden and Kamala Harris and their accomplishments and their chances next year, does a graphic like this and information like this move the needle for you?
I mean, for me, I already know what I'm doing. I think it's good for them to list out their accomplishments. I think the disconnect is, I read all that and I'm like, wow, that's a lot. But people don't feel it. Like you've done things, but it just feels like on an individual level, I don't feel it. Particularly the last two. Strengthen democracy at home and abroad. It says spoke out against discrimination and racism and anti-LGBTQI plus hate. It's great that you speak out, but there's a huge call for people for you to do something. And I know you could say Congress is prohibiting it, and I've said all that too, but that's the kind of thing that people want to see, they want to feel, because it seems to be so prevalent in our country. Confirmed highly qualified judges. That's great. But they're not on the level for the people who are setting the law of the land. Yes, this is who you pluck from to eventually become Supreme Court justices, and they are super impactful. But district, appellate, Supreme Court, we're feeling it from the Supreme Court. And although it's great that you put these judges in place, they aren't the ones that are sitting making the law of the land, where we feel it, where we feel the effects. So I feel like that is the hard part, or what people are desiring from the Biden-Harris administration that they just don't feel like they're getting. I'm not saying that they aren't doing anything. Obviously, this list shows it, but it just doesn't feel that way.
So there's a conversation I've been having with a lot of different people. And the conversation is about feelings. I feel like it's an important conversation. It's having a conversation with someone that was telling me how dangerous things are across the country, and particularly in New York. I'm on the phone with this person and I say, hey, now you keep telling me how dangerous things are, and I'm going to point to statistics that tell you that that's not true.
Mm-hmm.
That crime is down, right? We got into a long conversation. We got into a conversation about how they have been feeling like things were super dangerous even in 2019. 2019, which the NYPD said was one of the safest years on record, right? So I can tell you right now that if you're not living in a couple of different pockets of the country right now, your crime is going down. That's just a fact. Now, if you don't feel safer, then we have to talk about how long it takes for somebody to feel safer. If you're in a specific neighborhood, you might never feel safer.
Mm-hmm.
If I was just left Baton Rouge talking to the mayor and doing all this stuff, probably where I picked up my little friend right now that I'm dealing with. In the mayor's office, shout out to Baton Rouge Mayor Sharon Wesson Broome. Shout out to Courtney. Shout out to everyone down there that brought me down. And we talked. Martin Luther King Jr. weekend opened it up. Whole nine. It was amazing. When you move throughout the community there and you talk to people on the ground, they tell you what works and what doesn't. And they tell you right now if there are 250 murders in Baton Rouge or if there are 150 murders in Baton Rouge, they can feel the difference between 150 murders and 101 murders and 120 murders. But you might not be able to feel that difference, right? Because all you know is that somebody got shot at the Mall of Louisiana. So the question is, when you say feel, how do we inform an electorate when their feelings matter and when they don't? Right?
I know.
Like, how do you, because really there's a point to where you tell me right now that the country is just getting more dangerous by the day. And I'm like, well, that's not true. And it's just not true.
Sure.
I can't say that you don't feel that things are more dangerous, right? It's just not true. You might feel that things are more dangerous because you have an access to crime that you didn't before. You might feel that things are more racist because you have an access to racism that you didn't before. You might feel that things are more sexist and divided because you have an access to sexism and division that you didn't before. How are you supposed to think that shoplifting and property crime is going down when someone sends you a video of some kids running into a mall in Los Angeles or Minnesota and taking everything out of there? How are you supposed to think that it's down? Well, guess what? It is down. It's just down. I don't know what to tell you. It's down. So I think there has to be, and even more so than now, because all of this stuff that we're talking about, all of this information is being weaponized. We have to be able to get to what's actually happening. There are a couple of things I'll say about this list. Number one, I am just fucking surprised to see the Gaza war anywhere on this list. No. It is on there. They say like helping out. I'm just something that politically divisive. I'm just surprised to see that on there.
Where is it?
It's already. It's all the way down there. It's like helping out our friends in Israel and Ukraine. Like I'm super surprised to hear them put that on there with how that issue has been mismanaged by the administration.
Oh, there it is. Okay.
I mean, they don't have a clear vision, a clear plan, a clear narrative for Americans. They can't explain the nuances. They're not politically nimble enough to make the case to Americans about what's going on over there. They're just not. They haven't done a good job of it. So to put it on there, that's static. It's very shocking to me. A lot of the other stuff is good stuff, but it's all good stuff, right? It's all good stuff.
Yes.
But the question to your question, the question is, do you wait for people to feel it or do you make them feel it? You know what I mean?
You make them feel it, but can I also just say, I would imagine that this list was created from where they think they're doing the best to where they haven't had as much impact. That's
I
just
don't
my
think
guess.
that's the case. I just think that they
That's
it's not a.
it did no, because it starts off with like more things that they've done. They've got specific numbers, and then it's kind of like spoke out. Did this, brought student. I don't know. It's just that's how I'm reading it. But I think another thing is, if you ask, and this is in no way minimizing the things that they've done. They've done. If you asked voters what is important to them, like the top issues of where you want to see change, because this is where I think that they would feel it. They're not going to say climate crisis.
Well,
majority of voters are not going to say that.
I mean, here's the thing. That's the Thanksgiving dinner fallacy, right? So let me ask you a question. Thanksgiving dinner. What's your favorite Thanksgiving food?
Ham.
God damn. God damn. Like, for real?
I love ham.
Just a big
honey baked
hunk.
Slices.
But it's still a big ass. I mean, just a pork situation. Just porking it up. God. Okay. Ham. So that's your favorite. That's your favorite thing. Okay. Let's say you go there and you got your heart set on ham. The ham is going to be there. You go there and there's no ham.
Mm-hmm.
How good would everything else have to be to make you okay with the fact that there is no ham? That's what you're talking about. So if there's no ham, how good would the greens have to be? How good would the stuffing have to be? How good would the cornbread have to be? How good would the mac and cheese have to be for you to be like, hey, there's no ham, but the rest of this meal was so good that I don't care that the thing that I came for isn't here, right? If you love turkey and you say, hey, we're going to have a great turkey, the turkey's going to be there. There's no turkey. My mom didn't bring the turkey. My dad didn't bring the turkey. She didn't make the turkey. How good would the other stuff have to be for someone to say, hey, but we brought you some mac and cheese. We brought you some yams. We brought you some all of this. Look how good everything else is. What people don't understand sometimes, and I don't want to stay banging on the administration, but I just need everyone else who feels, I know that there's a lot of fear, guys, but everybody feels so girded up in the fact that that weakening Biden and Harris makes Trump a more present danger. I want people to understand what the thought that's trying to be crafted. The thought that's trying to be crafted is there is a way that people are, and then there's a way that people aren't, right? And the way that people are, when you talk about the word feeling, that's what we're negotiating right here. We're negotiating if people feel like they got what they paid for, if they feel that way, right? And if you go to Thanksgiving dinner and the turkey isn't there or the ham isn't there, the big hunk of pig, you might still get a good dinner, but you won't feel like you did because the thing that you came there for wasn't there. That's why you have to be careful about what you run on and what you say you're going to do, because because that becomes an albatross that hangs over the rest of your administration.
And that's my point. I'm not saying what I was saying is I'm not saying the climate crisis is not important. What I'm saying is of course it is. But when it comes to the people who your base or the people who are voting for you or the voters you're trying to attract, asking them what their top 3 things are that are important to them. And then if that's not on this list of things that you have accomplished or things that you have done or that you're actively trying to do, that's where people don't feel like things are being done. I guess that was my point. Most voters aren't going to say the climate crisis is number 1 for me. And then it's, you know what I mean? And so like to your point about what's looming over Biden because of what he ran on in 2020, what he promised his base, the base that turned things around for him, people don't feel like they're getting what they need. So although this list is extensive and it shows just in 1 year what this administration has been able to do, We don't feel like it because it's not the things that we specifically asked for at the top of our list. That's what I was saying.
And once again, when we say what was specifically run on, we have to be honest about it. It's the actual amount of student loan forgiveness. It's the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act. It's voting rights. I'm talking about specifically the Black people and other people, but there are other things too. There's codifying Roe. There's a couple of other things out there that just kind of that didn't get done. There were these huge issues, that were these gigantic blowbacks in the face of the administration. I'll say this though: if I'm them, there are three things that I'm saying. Number one, this country is in better economic shape than it was when I got here. Fact. Number two, this country is safer. It's safer than it was when I got here. Fact. And number three, we're creating jobs at an unprecedented rate. Those three things are true. Now, those three things you can message to. Whether or not you feel like those things are true yet has to do with how long it takes to feel things and the messaging coming from the administration. We stayed a little bit too long on politics. Pat McAfee. You like him?
I don't really listen to him. I don't dislike him.
Yeah.
I obviously know who he is. I know he's super popular, but I don't listen to him.
Donnie, what do you feel? How do you feel about Pat McAfee?
I liked him as a punter. As an analyst, and he was fun. He had like a lot of personality. I was working at NFL Network when he was punting, and I cut this music video of him that didn't get used because he's a punter. But as an analyst, I don't really listen.
You know, Donnie,
I like him on College Game Day. College Game Day.
He's great on College Game Day. There was this thing that happened on College Game Day. It was hilarious. Lank let a naysayer know. I'm not going to play the whole thing because if you didn't see it, then you missed it. Okay? But maybe we will play it. Go ahead, Donnie. Play Lank.
Jalen Milroe often wears his own branded apparel reading LANK across the front. It's an acronym that stands for Let a Naysayer Know. Being told by his former offensive coordinator, Bill O'Brien.
That is not what I thought.
Is that not what you thought?
Boy, let a naysayer know.
Let a naysayer know.
Of course.
The professional's right in the middle of his lead. That's all right. I just keep going.
You almost lost me again. It got real tight up here as you were. I just want to let you know.
Reese, you were too smooth with that. I thought it was going down. I thought it was going down out here. I looked over and
Oh, sorry about it. Let a naysayer know.
That's funny. That's like hilarious.
Yeah, it was funny.
That's funny. That's hilarious. Pat McAfee thinks that this is as close we've come to recognizing Dr. King's dream as anything else that's happened in America. All right. This is Pat McAfee from his show on Monday. All right, we'll talk a little bit more about some of the stuff that Big Mac is going through. But run it.
A discussion, obviously, it is Martin Luther King Jr. Day.
Yeah, okay.
He had a dream. And I think Lank was one of the closest we have had to potentially that dream coming to fruition.
That's right.
So let's realize that as we look around that we're maybe more close than we've ever been. And there's an election about to take place next year where we need to remember that we are more close than we've ever been. And people could potentially try to drive us apart from the outside looking in. Now, as somebody who was canceled by both parties last week, both of them canceled me.
Impressive.
Thank you.
Two
Political parties canceled me last week. We are still alive. Let's remember, we don't need all the outside noise. All we need is a little bit of love, which is what we have for all of the people that have good intentions every single day whenever they wake up, just like us. Now, with that being said, football's awesome.
That's enough. Okay. So backdrop here. Backdrop. Pat McAfee has been having Aaron Rodgers on the show, Quarterback Tuesdays, for a long time. As Aaron Rodgers has gotten increasingly wackadoodle, there have been a lot of people who have criticized Pat McAfee for his lack of pushback, for his allegiance to Aaron Rodgers, platforming of Aaron Rodgers. I don't give a fuck about what happens between Pat McAfee and ESPN. He's not a huge ESPN deal over there. He can call out whoever he wants at ESPN. I don't give a fuck about the executive of ESPN. So that part of it I don't care about. But, there are people that are wondering, what the fuck is going on with McAfee? He's doubled down on his support for Aaron Rodgers, even when Aaron Rodgers out of nowhere called Jimmy Kimmel, whatever. And just where McAfee fits in that whole thing and his enabling of the misinformation that comes out of Aaron Rodgers' mouth. Then you have that situation that comes on the Pat McAfee show on Monday, and people were annoyed.
Yeah, what I was looking, because I don't listen to Pat McAfee, I see him now on College Game Day. I know he was, YouTube streaming and had landed this huge
massive
contract.
Massive show.
Landed this huge contract with ESPN, which also a lot of people were upset about because a lot of people got let go. And it seemed to be that they were doing that, at least in appearance wise, to pave the way for Pat. But when I was looking at the comments under this post, because I'm trying to understand where people stand on Pat, because I don't have a deep history of who he is and the things he said, a lot of people seem to say, this isn't surprising. This is who Pat is. People were calling him Diet Joe Rogan. And I don't know enough about his history and the things that he's talked about to know whether or not that's true. What I felt like when I saw this clip was that he was trying really hard to get to a certain place. He wanted to talk about being canceled, and he wanted to somehow talk about let's all get along and love. And he tried to do that by reaching back to a moment that was very funny and to say I'm assuming, because I'm reaching here because it was so weird and not funny if he was trying to be funny. But saying because they all laughed about something about this, that they all kind of came together and that's the dream of Martin. I don't know. I'm grasping at straws here, trying to figure out what he was saying. But to me, it was disrespectful to Martin Luther King Jr. and what his dream actually was and what he actually stands for and the things that he fought for, all in the vein of trying to get this joke across and to make the point that you were canceled. The fact that it's Martin Luther King Jr. Day and you as a white man on one of the biggest sports platforms that has an 8-figure deal is talking about your issues, making yourself a victim on a day that means so much to so many people and signifies Blackness. You made it about you as a white man.
Mm-hmm. That's the thing. Bing, ding, 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 ding. So, number one, obviously being canceled, saying that you're canceled by both political parties while you're on a Disney show and blah, 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 doesn't make any sense. I think this is what he was trying to say about the Lank thing. What he was trying to say is, hey, this was something that was racially tinged and we all laughed about it. There've been a couple of incidences of that over the last couple of weeks. Rashard Mendenhall's black-white football game, where he said, hey, do the Pro Bowl, and it's all black players against all white players. Will Compton from Bussin' With the Boys comes up, and he does a whole rundown of how he feels like the white players would fare. It's hilarious. It's funny. Something that's actually, coming from Barstool, you're like, oh, my God, this is going to be fucked. But then it was actually funny. Bussin' With the Boys is a funny podcast. You know what I mean? So it's funny. Once he did it, everybody had a laugh. Excuse me.
Take your time.
The same thing with Lank. Everybody's up there. Everybody gets the joke. We're all laughing together, and that feels
Reese
good.
did not get the joke.
Reese didn't.
Everybody except for Reese.
Right. Everybody except for Reese. It feels good to laugh together at something that's racially tinged in the least bit. Okay. See, but this is the thing now. The line between cool white boy and annoying white boy is so thin. Man, it's such a thin line. It's such a thin line between that's a cool white boy and what's up, dog? Like, it's such a thin line between cool white boy and annoying white boy. We've seen this. We've seen Justin Timberlake be right there and then fall over it. Right? We've seen it. There's too many examples from the past of, this one of the, you fall over the thing. And it starts to happen when this entrenched fucking shittiness kind of peels out. Somebody hit me and they were like, why is this so offensive? I'm like, it's not offensive. It's just fucking annoying.
Yeah.
It's annoying as shit. Dr. King. Fuck Dr. King's dream. Fuck the dream. I'm sick of the dream. I've been sick of the dream. Fuck the dream. I know too much about Dr. King's actual life to care about the dream anymore. I know that was his dream. That's not my dream. My dream is not that you look at me and think that I'm equal to somebody else. I couldn't care less whether or not you think I'm equal to somebody else or judge me by the content of my character or whatever. My dream is you kick me in my ass, I kick you back. That's the dream. And that dream can be made a reality today. I don't need to change hearts and minds for that dream. That dream can be made a reality today. Him talking about Dr. King's dream, talking about Dr. King for some goddamn internet thing that happened on his show is preposterous. Dr. King lived having his life surveilled by the FBI with anxiety, like away from his family on the road. All of that stuff, right? All of that stuff, Dr. King's life was about. He was a doer, a thinker, a disruptor. Got nothing to do with no goddamn. If you're going to talk about Dr. King, to Rachel's point, don't make it about yourself. Talk about Dr. King and not Pat McAfee. This is the thing that we know is the problem with a lot of the white people that we share our community with, is that they can't move to the side and actually prioritize anything other than themselves. By the way, not just the white people. Hey, straight black man here, boom. Sometimes I think I'm the most important guy in the room. I got to save the black community. I got to go and I got to do it alone. And I don't want to do, it's a thing. It's the main character syndrome that you can't get out of the way of because the world has told you that you're more important than somebody else. It's just annoying. It's not a big deal. It's just annoying. It's Martin Luther King Day, and you're using Martin Luther King Day to talk about your problems with executives at Disney. You can't step aside for one moment and just be like, hey, blah, blah, blah. There was an opportunity to take that whole Lank thing and make it into something. Hey, you know what? It is cool that we all laughed at that and nobody got mad and all of that stuff. But he used it as an hors d'oeuvre to talk about himself, which is so often what happens in these situations. It's like, I decided I wanted to be here to help out the boys, the black boys situation of Harlem because, my entire life, I just wanted to do more. And I wanted to see people eat because of what I. What about the little black boys and girls that you're helping? Maybe you should talk about their lives while you have the mic. The whole thing, it was annoying. Once again, the thinnest of lines is between cool white boy and annoying white boy. You're just one lyric away. You're just one tweet away.
So it's comfortable, right? It's when they're cool and then they get too comfortable and that's when they fall off.
Yeah,
that's what happened. Lank was fine. It was cool. Everybody was praising. This is why I like Pat.
It's funny.
This is what I'm talking about. Pat's the only one to bring this up. Nobody else would have said anything. Got comfortable. Everyone loved Lank. He brought Lank back up again.
Bro.
Too much.
I want you to think about this. Think about this. Dr. King organized the Montgomery bus boycott. Dr. King, Edmund Pettus Bridge. Dr. King, Voting Rights Act, Civil Rights Act. Pat McAfee said the realization of his dream was a funny moment on ESPN. This is how important these people think that they are. They blew this motherfucker's brains out. Okay. All right. I don't want to go off. You know, it's not.
No, don't do it to yourself. You're a little under the weather. Just not today. Not today.
Yes. Not another church movie trailer. Jamie Foxx plays God in Not Another Church movie. Let's give us some audio from the church. The black church is under fire, guys. Not Another Church movie. Play the audio.
This is usually my day of rest, but I'm feeling like something. Hashtag Holy Davison. Holy Davison. Feeling very blessed today.
Well, hey there, Counselor Ferry.
It's actually pronounced Harry. It's Taylor.
All right, they can't see it. They can't see it. Cut it off.
Yeah, you gotta watch it.
We gotta watch this trailer. It's a movie that's making fun of black church movies. Rachel, what's your opinion of black church movies?
No, it's not making fun of black church movies. It is literally making fun of Tyler Perry. The entire thing. And that's why it caught my attention. Because I mean, even the person's name is Taylor Ferry. The entire thing. It is not about black churches. This movie, you guys go out and look at the trailer yourselves, but it's like a scary movie. And yes, it is making fun of a bunch of religious type movies, but they all seem to be Tyler Perry. They are even naming titles within it. There's a Medea type character in it. And then there's the Tyler Perry character. I mean, it is totally a spoof on Tyler Perry. And I don't know the law around this, but I don't know how. I don't know if it's a parody, but
how
it
you
is,
don't know the law. It's parody. It's fair use.
Because this isn't my type of law, but it's so Tyler Perry.
It's parody.
They might as well just call him Tyler. I know,
parody.
but it's just, I wonder how it will be received just in light of like stuff about Tyler Perry and the way that he's beloved. I'll say it that way. The way he's beloved. I just wonder when I watch this, I thought, are people really going to be upset? How will this movie do? Because it's clearly a bash on Tyler Perry, a parody, whatever, on Tyler Perry.
So I'm surprised, man, because when you look at the cast, you got Jamie Foxx, Vivica Fox, Tisha Campbell, Tyler Pratt. You got Lamorne Morris
in it.
Jasmine Guy. Like they brought Mickey Rourke into it. That's interesting. So it's like normally a lot of these people wouldn't want to piss Tyler off.
It's interesting.
So either it's not going to be very scathing, or he signed off on it. I don't know, but a lot of these people, Tyler's a very, very powerful guy, particularly in Black Hollywood. A lot of these people wouldn't want to piss him off. But I'm gonna be honest with you, there's something happening to where it seems like Black America is trying to, for some reason, turn the page on its cultural standards. And what I mean is, like, it seems like they're trying to turn the page on Oprah. They're trying to turn the page on Tyler Perry. There's like and I don't know what's up with it. There seems to be this social intellectual rebellion against some of the people that have been stalwarts for like a long time. It's like they want different. Like even all of the stuff that was like ruthlessly made up about TD Jakes, everyone was so anxious to believe it. Everybody was so anxious to say that it was true. I just wonder what the fuck is going on with that. Like what's the thing right now? It seems that there's this confluence of events where Black people are trying to, because in this entire Taraji thing, which we really haven't talked about that much on the podcast here, the number one person that they wanted to blame for all of that was Oprah. They wanted to blame Oprah for it. They didn't want to blame the studio as much. They didn't want to blame the production companies as much, because remember, there are other people that were on that production. There was Quincy Jones was there, Steven Spielberg was there, Scott Sanders was there. There's a lot of other people that were there, but the number one person they wanted to blame for all of that was Oprah.
Well, I think that's because you have to couple that with Monique's allegations. Monique said similar things. Monique didn't do the press tour for Precious because she was demanding certain things, or she felt she was entitled to them and wasn't receiving them. And she says that Oprah and Lee Daniels blackballed her. And so now when you have, not that Taraji's getting blackballed, but there was the social media clip that went around that seemed to show Oprah not having contact with Taraji after Taraji was outspoken in a similar way to Monique. So, of course, people are talking again. They're like, oh, this isn't a one-off. This seems to be something that Oprah is tied to. So I think people are hanging on to that. And then how does Oprah respond? She sits Taraji down and has a conversation with her because she needs to nip this in the bud because it can't be another Monique situation. So I don't think people would be coming at Oprah as much if it wasn't for the Monique situation, because people are not talking about Taraji without also referencing Monique, and Oprah is a common denominator in both of those situations. But I do also think in regards to like TD Jakes and just Black churches, it's a different generation. And the way our parents' generation felt about church, it's just a lot of like institutions or traditions that have existed within our society. The way our parents' generation felt about them versus the way that we feel about it. They seem to stick to what you were supposed to do. Their parents taught them this, and that's exactly what they do, where it's a different generation where people are like, I'm not really buying into that. And I feel like that's what this movie reflects, or quick to not believe everything that they're necessarily told. And I also think people just relish in the downfall of others, which also seems to be something that exists in our society.
You can actually talk about the church movie itself, which I don't really even feel like is that big of a genre to make. I guess it is to make a whole not another about. But the fact that it's clearly a send up of the Tyler Perry movie, that's very poignant. And it's interesting. I'll have to watch it to see kind of how they went with it. But the reality is that it's like Tyler will fuck you, fuck over you. Should be very clear.
Donnie, like, please,
I'm editing it out.
No, leave it like that.
Okay,
leave it like that. Fuck over you. He doesn't like his name being played with. He does not like his name being played with. And to see this happening, I'm almost certain that when we see this, it's going to be a lighthearted send up. Because for some of these people, I just don't think that they would want to cross him. But look, I have no shortage of criticisms of the Black church. It's not that I don't love the Black church. I love the Black church for being the institution that it is and that it has been. I would just say, if the Black church is going to set cultural rules for Black people and set cultural parameters for Black people, then it needs to give something back to Black people. And by the way, I'll say this. When I said that, a whole bunch of Black churches reached out and told me everything that they do.
Yes.
Maybe we should have a more robust conversation. Rachel, you were into that. You were having a conversation about that. You like the Black church. You're one of their shills. So we were having that whole conversation. It's tough. It's tough to have the conversation about religion with Black people, because oftentimes religion is just another cudgel that's used to separate us. Right? Lil Nas X comes out and he offends people, and a lot of people are clout chasing. A lot of people that I've never heard mention God or talk about God or doing anything like that with God, who say all kinds of crazy stuff for telling him what he should and should not be saying. It's a clout chase. Clout chase off Lil Nas X is what people are doing. Most of y'all. 90% of the people that have a problem with Lil Nas X did a clout chasing. 9 out of 10. 9 out of 10. Most of you are clout chasing. And even some of the ones of you who do the work, you're still clout chasing. You just want to have something to talk about. Because I'll be honest with you. Like, what? Okay, Lil Nas X did what he did. So what? Like, so what? It's between him and God.
That's it?
Between him and God. So what?
That's it. I mean, I challenge everybody out there talking about God to do this. I challenge you, all the people out there talking about God, stop using God as a substitute teacher, as an assistant principal in charge of discipline. What I don't hear enough from any of you is what God and faith and submission
and order will do for people's lives. All I hear is a bunch of disciplinarians running around with this holy ruler smacking people on the hand. It's a new version of fire and brimstone. All I hear
just
is
thinking that.
don't do. What about do? What about what does God do for people?
I'm sorry.
It's fine. It happens.
What about doo-doo?
What about what does a relationship with God? What does fellowship with God? What does fellowship with other people? What does it do for your life? You know, like, well, what does it do? How does it enhance? What does it mean to fellowship with the creator of the universe? All of that. If y'all ain't doing that, if you just jumping in when it's time to talk shit about people, you're whack and you're clout chasing. All right, I don't have any podcasts left in me, guys. I'll tell you what.
You gave us a full hour. You did well, Van.
Thank you, Rachel.
You did.
I appreciate that. Rachel, so now, I do want to say something before we go. So, me getting COVID stopped us from being able to have somebody on this podcast who I really respect. His name is TK Kirkland. He is an OG of mine, one of the best comedians in the world. I want to have a conversation with TK about the state of comedy, about comedians, about the psyche of comedians, about the back and forths that are going on right now in comic circles. He speaks from his heart. He brings a lot of wisdom. You're probably going to find clips where you're definitely agreeing with him and clips where you're going, man, this brother is keeping it a little too real. But I'll tell you one thing. For him, he is as funny, as deadly accurate, as unabashed and untainted a voice as you'll hear. Back in the day, I remember I told TK, I was like, I think I want to get married, man. First question, he was like, how much money you got in the bank? It's the first thing he asked me. First thing he asked me was like, how much money you got in the bank? And just proceeded to school me on the real world ramifications, what it means to actually be like a man and a husband and all of those things, right? Just talk to me about it. Right? And we've been trying to get him on the podcast for a while. It lined up that he was going to be on the podcast right now, a couple of weeks after everything that Kat said, and we wanted to have a black comedian, a well-respected black comedian on here to kind of talk about the entire thing, and then I get COVID. I want everybody to take the time to go support something that TK is doing and look up an interview and just look the way he lays his shit down. If you come back and you're tickled, you probably will be. If you come back and he pressed you a little bit, that's probably going to happen too. But we cannot wait. We cannot wait to have TK Kirkland on this podcast. We really can't wait to have him on. And I'm so sorry that I got sick. And shout out to his representation, Amir. And we definitely will do that pretty soon. I woke up Saturday, had the whole usual thing, and then it hit me yesterday. It's like, yo, should I see if I have it? Should I see if I'm down? If I have
Surprised
it?
It took you a day. You know how you are.
Well, I thought I had a little cold, and then
you run to a doctor.
I do, and then I got walloped on Sunday night and Monday morning, and then I took it and said, "Boom, COVID." Then then I called the doctor, and I was like, "Do I need Paxlovid? Do I need all that stuff?" All right, I'm out. Take your thing caps off, but do not stop learning. I'm Van Lathan Jr.
I'm Rachel and Lindsay. Bye, guys.